needed to have that alternative voice out in the public space to challenge the use and abuse of Islam to discriminate against women.
The people calling for these changes are basically guided by secular laws, so they don't see Islam as the sovereign.
You know, how could Islam be an unjust religion? Because the kind of experiences that women were going through with the Islamic system was an unjust and an oppressive experience. And it's all justified in the name of God.
As an example,
and
again,
as
we come to the
believers, we
hijab,
don't
which
believe
is
God is
really
unjust.
I'm so happy. I'm great. I'm so happy that we could finally meet.
Thanks.
Thank you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما. Alhamdulillah, Azra Banu and Jamila, you're two of the most active women in Malaysia, mashallah, in your work.
Our organization is known as Muslim Professional Forum, Berhad. It's a non-profitable organization. We strive to promote Islamic understanding with and engage in dialogues on critical issues concerning Islamic belief, practices, culture, and thoughts. And in doing so, we network with national and international audience throughout the world.
We're here at the offices of Sisters in Islam, and Zaina Anwar, you're the founder, I think. Founder member.
I think the issue now, the fundamental belief that we have, like things which are really very clear cut in Al-Quran, there is some controversial ideas coming up in the name of gender equality and fighting for fundamental liberties. They have encroached on areas which I feel that there's no need to question.
We were getting so many complaints from women about their experience with the Sharia courts, their experience with the religious department. When they go to complain that their husbands beat them up, they're told that, oh, but that's his right in Islam. A man has a right to beat his wife. When they complain that their husband has taken a second wife or a third wife or a fourth wife, oh, but that's his right in Islam. A man has a right to 4 wives. So everything, it seemed like Islam legitimized domestic violence, Islam legitimized, polygamy, Islam legitimized the oppression of women, and that, women must obey men, women are inferior to men. All this was legitimized in the name of Islam.
It is a growing trend here, calls for the Quran to be allowed to be interpreted by anyone. You just have to pick it up, read a translation of it, and come to your own conclusion without the prerequisites required in the first place to do that.
We began to read the Quran for ourselves. We took lessons, and it was a very liberating experience for us to discover the verses in the Quran that talk about justice, about equality, about compassion, between men and women in Islam, and that the problem really is not with the text, but with men, with patriarchy, with those who interpret the text to justify patriarchy, to resist the changing realities that's palpably happening before them.
They see us as oppressed. They see us as needing to be saved, downtrodden, that we have to listen to our husbands or fathers, and we are chained all the time. And I think this is a very,
totally wrong.
Yes, completely complete injustice to us women who really lead very full lives here.
But how do you deal with that within your organizations?
What we do is we try to explain to them the actual situation, that look at us, we are not oppressed, we lead a very meaningful life, even though we are a wife, a mother, a daughter, and we've got our different roles in society. When we are a mother, we know our responsibilities. When we are, when we are outside doing our, trying to improve the image of Sharia in our country, we are playing a different role.
Balance.
Yeah, we balance. And also the other thing, by wearing this hijab, because there's also a group of women who's trying to say that the hijab oppresses you. You don't need to wear it. Why do you need to wear this and cover yourself up? I say no, it's something that's been ordained by my religion, by my deen, and I'm comfortable with it because this is my private space, my private property, and I want to keep it that way. And I started wearing the hijab when I quit legal profession. And I find that I'm more empowered by it. When I started wearing the hijab, people respect me. They listen to what I have to say.
We refuse to recognize that this is a problem of patriarchy. And what we do is we use religion to justify patriarchy. And
well, let's define terms. You tell me what you mean by patriarchy. It's a broad term. Let's define
basically, where men, a social practice or a belief in society that men are superior to women, men are in control of women, and the particular challenge in Muslim society is that religion is used to justify this, and when religion is used to justify this and to resist the changing realities, then it makes it even more difficult, for change to take place in societies, in Muslim societies, because, traditionally we've been brought up to believe that, that only the religious scholars, the ulama, have a right to speak about Islam.
I think you brought up a very important point, which is about texts and authority, right? Yeah. I mean, this idea that if you want, the Protestant view is that give the Bible to everybody and let them work it out for themselves what it means, which to me is the complete antithesis of the Islamic teaching. The Quran very clearly states, ask those who know if you don't know. The Quran states, it talks about ulil amri, the people that are in the position of authority. It also talks about that if you have difficulties, then go back to the book and the sunnah and then listen to the people who are able to do istinbat, yastanbitunahu, that they're able to derive things. Not everybody has that capacity.
They're calling for the Sharia judges to be, Sharia court, to be subservient to the federal court, to the high courts, the civil courts, and they want the federal constitution above and beyond anything else in this country. So their calls are based on secularism. We can almost call them secular Muslims. So a complete disregard of Islam is not beyond them.
Our position is that when Islam is used as a source of law and public policy within a democratic nation state, then all citizens within a democratic society have a right to debate, to engage in that process.
Which society does that? We don't do that. I mean, which society? Show me. Does Switzerland do that? Does Denmark do that?
What I'm saying is that
where are citizens literally debating laws? Where do they have referendums? You have lawyers that determine laws. No, I'm serious.
No. This is the process of lawmaking. I'm saying if you introduce a law that says when a man takes a second wife, he has a right to claim a share of the matrimonial property from his first wife.
Yeah, that's not Islam, though. That's another problem.
This is the point. The point is it is done in the name of Islam.
Yeah, but that,
so when it is
that's a valid point.
Like that,
I totally
then
accept
people
that
like
point.
us,
Totally
the point I'm saying is that when Islam enters the public space and becomes public law and public policy in a democratic state, then the citizens have a right to engage in that process of debate and discussion. Public law must be open to public debate. And the problem that we have in many Muslim societies is because it is Islam, it cannot be open to public debate and public discussion.
It's complementary. There's nothing contradictory about it. Because the family law that we follow in Malaysia is based on the Sharia, and there is nothing that I feel is encroaching on my rights. or responsibility. Especially in areas when it comes to divorce, talaq, it's all well provided for. The different type of divorce, talaq, fasak, everything is provided for under the Act. And when it comes to divorce, harta sepencarian, which is meaning that when there is a divorce, the woman should get whatever that she contributed for during the marriage is covered for under the Act. And I don't see any encroachment of my rights as a wife. And the other part is maintenance is also covered. So I don't see any problem in that area. Whereas if you talk to some feminists,
They want to change
they want to
those.
change because they said they want equality in every sense. Like for instance, talaq. They said that why should only the man be the one to pronounce talaq? They want that right also be given to women when the woman has been given under fasak, other areas of the divorce.
Khula.
Yes, khula, and they don't see it that way. What the woman doesn't get, they want that additional one, just for the sake of equality.
Well, I think equality is a problematic term because it's a mathematical concept. It's a metaphor. And there's just no such thing as equality. I mean, intellect, people have different intellectual capacities. There's very little equality. The only term equality is useful for is about law. People should be equal before the law. When they come before the law, they should be judged equally, irrespective of whether they're male or female or black or white or wealthy or poor. But in terms of, there's no equality. I mean, the Quran says we have preferred some over others. And the Quran says, وَلَلْآخِرَةُ أَكْبَرُ دَرَجَاتٍ وَأَكْبَرُ تَفْضِيلًا. The next life has even greater disparity than this life. Only in the next life, all the criteria are switched around. In this world, wealthy people have power, have influence. In the next world, very often those are the people that are completely stripped of all their power and all their influence. And it's all these poor people that had nothing in the world that were worshiping Allah and doing what they were commanded to do. Those are the people that are going to be ahead. So I just don't see equality in nature or in the world. I don't see it. Some people are stronger than others. Some people are more intelligent than others. Some people are gifted in different things. Some people have gifts in mathematics, others have gifts in English. So I don't like the metaphor equality. I think it's a very dangerous metaphor.
Women have been tiptoeing and whispering for hundreds and thousands of years to try and bring change. It got them nowhere. Okay, and I'm tired of whispering and tiptoeing in the right ears. I think ballet dancers do that very well, but I think if you want to bring change in society, the days of whisper, tiptoe, and speak into the right ears, it's just not going to work.
I mean, you mentioned like even Gulf men who come to Malaysia. What were you saying here? What is the objective of using specific examples like this?
Because that's a reality. I
What
always
is it?
believe in talking about, because
What happens? Tell me more.
Well,
I want to know.
like say the government. I've been in Indonesia. Men from the Gulf countries. I mean, they're targeted. Poor Muslim villages outside of Jakarta are really targeted for Misha marriages. Misha
I just have to clarify, because we say Misha. You say what?
Misha.
Misha. Okay.
Yeah, Misha marriages. Because. They sell the girls, the young girls. They sell their daughters to these men.
money, because
for money. They need money.
But you also say that you feel that these men are using this kind of marriage to, of course, fulfill a sexual lust, but also because to help themselves not feel guilty, because they're using Islam. They say, okay, it's okay, I'm married. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do zina or anything.
Yeah, I mean, when people do that kind of thing, you kind of like feel like as if you think God can be duped. As if you're duping God. God knows.
You think they
better.
are. You think they're doing
Well, they
it.
think they think that they
Well,
are.
they think, يخادعون
Yeah.
الله
but you do it because you just want to have sex.
The Quran, the Quran uses the word يخادعون الله. They attempt to dupe God. وما يخدعون إلا أنفسهم. But in the end, they only dupe themselves.
In the Quran, there is an entire surah dedicated to women, An-Nisa. You don't have any surah that's dedicated to the guys, no Ar-Rijal or nothing. So to me, again, maybe these ladies, they've got some agenda that we don't understand. And we have to understand to find out, why they're coming up with this,
Any action that you do, you have to check your intention The Prophet ﷺ said, إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Actions are in accordance with the intentions that underlie those actions. And we often don't ask, what's my intention here? You know, why am I doing this? What's really motivating me? Am I motivated by a desire for power, a desire for fame, a desire for prominence, a desire for wealth, a desire for revenge? And according to the Quran, the only action that's really accepted is one that has ikhlas, that's actually a pure action. And pure hearts are very rare in the world, and people don't work hard enough on the state of their heart to really look into their heart about why they're doing it. So I tend to, you know, when I see a lot of these women, I think we need to understand more what their backgrounds are and what they're seeing in the world and what's going on in their lives.
Given the realities of your lives today, you know, how do you get the religious authorities who make laws, who make policies, who make fatwas to recognize the realities of your lives? If they keep insisting, you know,
There's not a problem.
Yeah, that there's not a problem. This is all hukum shara. Yes, there are thousands of hukum shara. The challenge is, which hukum shara do you apply given the set of circumstances in your country, in your life today? Our legal clinic handle about 800 cases a year. A woman who was married for 8 years, and it took her 7.5 years to get a divorce. I mean, from the first day I met her, when she was like really a, you know, downtrodden, submissive woman, to, you know, now being very strong, very empowered, and helping other women. She finally got her divorce. Well, husband had second wife, husband a domestic violence. I mean, every ground for divorce is there. But because he refused to give her a divorce, the court refused to give her a divorce.
Why?
Yeah.
I wonder where we're going in a very short period. And we can ask that question about the entire planet. You know, the Quran asks us a question, فَأَيْنَ تَذْهَبُونَ? Where are you going? Where is this all leading to? You know, one of the most prominent principles in usul, in our jurisprudence, is نَظَرَ لِلْمَآلَاتِ, to look down the road, to really take a long look. In America, in the Iroquois nation, the Native American people, the women, they had a council of men, of all the different tribal chieftains. But the women always were behind the men. If they didn't agree, they would kick them in the back. But they, in their tribal councils, before they made any decision, they had to look 7 generations and think, how will this decision affect 7 generations? One of my real fears, and it's something for you to think about, but all of us, one of my real fears is, as we unravel something that an immense amount of human effort went into to creating, as we unravel it, will it completely unravel until there's nothing left? And therefore we're in a very, very difficult time. There's no doubt. And I think these waters need to be navigated with great deliberation. You know, I thought a lot about why the Muslim world is in the state it's in for many years. And I really think that Ibn Khaldun in the Muqaddimah, actually, he got right to the point, and it's in his section on education, where he says that the real crisis in the Muslim world is a result of the way they're training their children. He said, because we use punitive measures, and we're constantly controlling our children through fear. Yes. And he says that in doing that, what we end up inculcating in them are qualities of lying, treachery, laziness, hypocrisy. And he goes and he looks at all these qualities, and then he says, he finishes it by saying, and anywhere where you see oppression practiced, you will find these are the dominant qualities of the people. And he uses the Jews as an example, which I thought was really powerful, because for me, he was the first person in the Muslim tradition that recognized that the Jewish behavior that was stereotypically projected onto them was actually a result of social conditions, that because they were oppressed, they would often resort to certain tactics. And in the Quran about women, when it says, "Inna kaydakunna azim," your plotting is very vast and intricate, one of the things that a lot of commentators said is it's because they were oppressed. and that oppressed people resort to trickery and they resort to plotting. So it's not that women by their nature are manipulative or that but when you oppress them, they end up having to use plotting and things like this as a way of getting out of that state. And our women as well. I mean, there is a lot of oppression out there. There's a lot of wrong. I mean, you too might not be oppressed, and I think that's part of why you feel very positive about your religion. But there are a lot of women out there that are in very horrific conditions, and they're living in intolerable conditions. And unfortunately, the religion is often used to justify those intolerable conditions. And I think that's what a lot of our other sisters that might be doing things that we're not happy about, they're reacting to a lot of that injustice. So Allah says, لَوْلَا دَفْعُ النَّاسِ بَعْضُهُمْ بِبَعْضٍ لَفَسَدَتِ الْأَرْضِ. Had it not been some people constraining other people, there'd be corruption everywhere. So inshallah, that's what you're doing. You're part of that counterbalance, to keep things in a creative harmony. But I want to really thank both of you for coming and talking to us. And may Allah give you much tawfiq in all of your work, inshallah. And we're very happy to be in Malaysia and to see such thriving sisters doing such great work. Did you have something against men? Just be honest. I want to know the truth.
I have lots of
Because I've noticed that you're not treating me as nice as you're treating them. I mean, I'm just... Is there some aggression, antagonism
there are
here?
men and men.
Yeah.
Okay? Men who believe in justice and equality, who treat women as fellow human beings of equal worth and dignity. I love them. I think what is important is that process of consultation.
Shura.
has to
وَأَمْرُهُمْ
take
شُورَ
place,
بَيْنَهُم.
you
And that
can't-
includes the women.
Yeah, of
and I
course,
believe
of
that.
course,
Sayyid Naqib Al-Attas yesterday, I loved it when I asked him about
Yes.
women's issues. He just said, ask the women.
Nurliana, tell me a little bit about how you feel, you as a Muslim woman, about your rights, if you feel like you're being represented in Malaysia.
Okay. First of all, I feel very lucky born in Malaysia because I think women here is actually stronger than men because there's no barrier to actually go to work or study, and actually most of the women excel in their field more than men in Malaysia. Actually nowadays the man is also can think that it's okay if their wife hold a better position than them, just to have a very happy family, so they can like give and take and compromise each other for whatever matters.
As a Muslim woman, do you feel you have rights in Malaysia, or do you think that maybe you're not quite where you want to be?
Okay, I think... Say something.
I don't know.
Basically, what a man wants is somebody to take care of them, and what a woman wants is somebody to cherish them and love them, and treat them like a queen. But in real life, when they get married after 5 years, it doesn't happen like that.
Men thinks that woman is like a maid. So if men can work, women's work. So why only women have to take care of the
Who's gonna
children
take
and
care
the
of the
cook?
children?
Why men cannot? Because both of us work.
Because they don't have it in them to take care of the children. I mean, they don't have the patience, for one.
They can learn.
Yes, they
They can learn.
Yeah, they can learn.
This is become a culture. Women have to cook. Women have to take care of the children. Everything. Because the men
But they don't
have
do
a
everything.
high egos.
The men what? Oh,
High egos.
high egos.
The government should play a role making work more flexible to women. The job have to be designed that it's flexible for women to take care of the children, nurture their children, at the same time don't lose out in their careers.
This is the time for women to get the rights.
you.